Hello, we are drama bonded.
Welcome to Drama Bonded. I'm Jess.
I'm Mandy.
And I already said it, we're Drama Bonded. I don't know what I'm doing. Hey.
And we're going to talk about
Pastry Week.
Pastry Week. We're still kind of in that flow where we think we should just be doing our little
intro. I know. As soon as you started saying that, I was like ready to kick in and start giving it. But I'm like, we're not really even talking about just The Bachelor these days.
Maybe we need a new intro that encompasses more.
That could be fun. That intro took me so long to write. So
that was really good.
Thanks.
So we have a confession. We dropped the ball on figuring out a candy to review, but we have ordered something, so we'll definitely have something for next time. But I have a random question.
Oh, yeah. Go for it.
So Jess just brought up the candy store at the mall.
It's not there anymore.
It's not there. But growing up, I used to love to go to the mall, get a mango Julius from Orange Julius, and then go to the candy store and get like $4 worth of candy in a bag. What were your two favorite candies to put in a candy bag from those like bulk candy stores?
This is going to come as a great shock to you. They sell banana like runts separate.
Oh, man.
So I just filled my bag with banana.
That's so Jess.
I know, like not even interesting. Banana candy.
Mine was the strawberry sour belts.
Ooh, I bet those are pretty good.
Those are and I still do that. Like they sell them in bulk at Smith's. They're obscenely expensive for not very many, but that's my shit.
Okay. Smith's, really? I'll have to go take a look. I've never thought to look at the bulk section for candy.
Well, you know, the bulk section where they're already kind of like pre-measured out.
Yeah. I know that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. I've looked for candy there. I've not seen
candy
those.
Selection.
Yeah.
But there you go.
Okay. Well, we've talked about candy.
Yeah.
That's what we've got this week.
I was going to bring Gushers and not like fruit snack Gushers. I mean, they're the same, but like you can also get Gushers at gas stations now, just in a candy size bag. And let's be honest, Gushers are candy, fruit snacks are candy. Fruit snacks are just an example of the power of marketing.
Oh my
gosh! And why they are included in the breakfast cereal aisle, I have no idea because they are not nutritious. But damn, I love me some Gushers.
Yeah, those are really good. I really miss, and I haven't been able to find them, the Sour Patch Kid exploders.
Ooh, yeah, those are so good.
They're gone.
Really?
I can't find them anywhere. I probably can find them on like Amazon or something, but I cannot find them in the grocery store or gas stations, and I have looked.
Speaking of Amazon, we need to find those now and laters that we had.
I forgot all about those.
I know. We need to find those online.
Yeah, just order a box. That's a great plan. Pastry Week.
Man, I'm just so bummed.
We're not going to go in order. We're really sad that we lost Rowan and Nikki.
Yeah, can we just like have a moment of silence for the only two people on the show that were kind of fun to watch? That's not true. I enjoy other people, but I'm just saying their personalities brought a lot to the show. Like we talked about last week, like I like Dana, I like Maddie, I like Saku, but Rowan's one-liners and Nikki's just like bubbly personality, they bring a lot, and I don't know what we're gonna do now that they're gone.
No, Nikki's laugh is infectious. Like I love that, and yeah, Rowan is just so relatable to me. I like want to give him a hug, and I feel like Paul did not need to tear him down.
I mean, Rowan's showstopper was really it looked really bad. So I'm not surprised he went home. I'm just really mourning the loss of what he brought to the show.
I hate pies.
Oh, really? Wait, making or eating or?
Well, no, I love eating pies. Making pies. I remember, so my dad used to love strawberry rhubarb. And I, in sheer arrogance, was like, I'm going to make this man a strawberry rhubarb pie for his birthday. This is when I discovered I'm allergic to rhubarb. Like my hands broke
You're
out.
allergic to rhubarb?
I am. My hands broke out into blisters. And I was like, that's normal. And I wasn't like using the bad parts of rhubarb. Like I know how to deal with it. But then the worst thing that happened, that pie was soup. And when I tell you it was soup, it was just like sheer water underneath the pie crust.
No.
I brought it to the birthday celebration.
Oh no.
And I
I'm
just
getting
felt
social anxiety.
I know. Well, my dad loved me, so it was
Of
okay.
course.
But like, yeah, it sucked. And then I ate it because like if I'm gonna serve this shitty soup pie, like I have to.
Yeah, you gotta eat
game.
it.
When I tell you I got sick, I was so sick from this pie. Like, turns out if you're allergic to something that blisters your hands, you probably shouldn't like eat it.
Oh no.
It was a really bad night. And then on top of all of that, I was just up all night, deathly ill, and thinking about this shitty pie that I made. That pie haunts me to this day.
That's such a sad story. But also, I'm really glad you told me because I love rhubarb, and I probably eventually would have made something and just been like, Jess, I made this rhubarb thing.
Oh, I would love to eat it, but yeah. If you can make a rhubarb pie, though, props to you. I will eat it and just bear the consequences.
No, you will not.
But yeah, rhubarb is watery. So
I have made a lot of strawberry rhubarb crisps, but I've never made a pie.
oh yeah. Well, if you can do those crisps, you can definitely execute a pie. It's the handling of all the moisture that's so critical.
I just need to suck it up, spend an afternoon learning how to make a pie crust appropriately, and then I would probably make a lot of pies.
I can help you with that.
Okay, well, let's do it.
Yeah, that sounds really fun. We should, because that's the only part that I am like decent at this point. I can make a pie crust.
My mom said the two things that are an indicator of a technically capable cook are pie crust and gravy. And
That's nice of your mom.
I can't make either.
I have those, surprisingly. I don't even like gravy.
Oh, I love gravy. And I do think that a good gravy is a skill.
Yeah. I don't know where I learned to make gravy, but I do know how to make gravy. So we'll work on that too.
Okay.
We'll do a gravy pie.
I mean, it is kind of gravy season. So.
Absolutely it is. Yeah, that sounds great. I guess we can tackle the signature bake.
So, savory picnic pies.
I liked this one. I'm always so fascinated by people's flavor combinations in savory pies. I feel like I don't love savory pies, but then a lot of these sounded really, really good to me.
I would eat a lot of them. Like the
Yeah.
spanakopita one.
Tasha's sausage, apple, and cranberry.
Oh, yeah. That sounded like Thanksgiving.
Yes. Stuffing encased in pastry. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I thought Christie's garlic and mushroom leek one also sounded really good.
I thought that was so smart too, in the way that she like made that creamy sauce. I mean, they talked about that, but yeah, that sounded really good. And mushrooms can be really meaty without being meat.
They also absorb so much flavor.
Yes, and leeks, if I may, I feel like are the superior onion flavor of all kind of oniony things. I like leeks most. So I really, really, I loved that. Nikki did not do well with her pork and cheese.
Yeah, that was rough.
That was rough.
Also, Saku, I don't know how Saku's still there, to be honest.
I know. That one was really surprising to me because it feels like she has sort of like from the get-go, from the very beginning of that turtle cake, that they were just like, no, this is not good.
I know. And maybe there's always someone who's just like slightly worse than her every time. But man, I feel like Saku is also equally surprised she's still there.
Yeah, her face when she didn't get eliminated.
She's like, guess I'm coming back again. I need to step it up.
Yeah. At least we have some treasures still. You know, I think Saku brings a lot of levity to the tent. So
sure.
At least we still have her.
Very impressed with Maddie and Christy for attempting the lattice top on those mini pies.
Christy's, and then her crying to Noel that like they weren't good. And I just was looking at that. I'm like, I can tell sometimes, like most of the time when somebody's crying, you're like, yep. Christy's crying, and I'm just like, why? I would be delighted if my pies looked like that. That was like some real technical finesse to do that. And like pie crust is not straightforward. And then when you start doing intricate things and then you're doing small things, that was really good.
I think we learned something about Christy this week, which made me, I feel like it humanized her and made me like her more. But like when she was talking about how she can only practice the baking when her kids are asleep and how she doesn't have time for herself because, you know, maybe she's a stay-at-home mom and she feels like every bit of her time is for other people.
Yeah.
And so I kind of think that this baking is like one of the only things in her life that she's doing for her. And I think that as women, it's not unusual for us to kind of put so much pressure on ourselves to
Yes.
be the best we can at the things that we, I don't know, find ourselves the most in.
Mhm.
And so it's kind of that weird balance of like, I don't know. Like, I think that that's probably so much like with strength training with you and I, right?
Absolutely.
Like, we have these expectations that we should be a certain place and it's so loaded. And even though we get so much value out of it, it's also like this love-hate relationship of also having too much of our self-worth in this thing.
Absolutely.
And
Now,
maybe that's that for Christy.
I can absolutely see that. And I think that's a really valid point of view on this thing. Yeah. Then,
Sorry, I kind of took it to a
no,
deep
you
place.
didn't. I think that's really on point. I'm glad you brought it up because, like, watching Christy cry, I was just like, oh,
Yeah, like those are okay. Those look beautiful.
yeah. It was really shocking, and I think that is really on point. Like, it is hard to not have your worst tied up in that, and yeah, Christy is human, and she's doing a really good job. Like, I know we've kind of like said that she's maybe not the most interesting, and that's fine because nobody owes us interesting. You get to do you.
Yeah, you can be who you want.
Like, but she's clearly very talented. Like, all of her stuff, her box last week in Chocolate Week was the most beautiful box.
I think she's one of the most consistent.
Yeah.
Like, I think she's either been middle of the pack or upper tier.
I think she really knows her lane. She's really good at knowing what she's good at, and she sticks with that, which I think that's a good tactic to take. Do what you know, like make those things perfect. And she's doing a very good job.
It's interesting how many times we hear the bakers say, this has never happened before. This has never happened before. And I'm going to equate this to weightlifting again, but it's kind of like, you know, you have your PR and maybe you're doing like some competition where you know you should be able to like lift a certain amount and you've done it. I don't know, maybe you're lifting like 90%, right? And you're like, I've lifted 90% so many times. Like, this is doable. And dude, some days it's just not doable. And I kind of think the same thing happens with baking. Like, no matter how much you practice, there's always going to be a day where you don't have control of a certain thing and it's just not going to work out.
Yeah, especially in the time crunch that like there's so many factors out of their control. So yeah, it does inevitably happen, but it's also none of these bakers, even the ones who have gone home, are bad bakers. They're all incredibly talented and have just not had their best days. And that's just sort of, and you're right, that is weightlifting to a T. And that's a really hard thing to like really internalize of like, you can do everything right, but ultimately, sometimes things are just out of your control and it's not going to go the way you wanted it to.
Yeah, and that's hard to watch. Like, especially if you've nailed it so many times, maybe in the privacy of your own home, and now you're in the tent and it matters and, you know, everything goes to shit. Like, these bakers are handling these stressful moments with so much poise and patience. I would be a mess.
It would just be me crying and every other word a swear word of like bleeped out. Like there's no grace.
I also don't know how there is. Well, everyone's like so sweet and proper, and I definitely would be putting my fists through like messed up bakes.
Well, earlier today I went downstairs to change out laundry and Saul's like, I heard you say, oh shit. What happened? I'm like, I don't know. And then I remembered that I broke my offset spatula trying to get cookies out of a pan that were a little too old. Like, I don't know. Stuff just flies out of my mouth too when it goes wrong. Like,
Yeah. How are there not more bleeps on this show?
I don't know. Maybe. Yeah.
Do you think there's a contract where they're like, this isn't a show that we bleep on, so no foul language?
No foul language. I swear Noel wrote fuck once and they showed it. I don't know what season that was, but like.
That wouldn't surprise me. I mean, obviously there's dirty jokes and stuff that are hilarious.
This
because of
season
how
has
sweet-
been spicy
Yeah.
with the dirty jokes.
Yeah.
Beavers and plums and balls and
There's a lot of innuendos, which is hilarious just because it's such a crazy juxtaposition for like how sweet and thoughtful and innocent the show seems. But yeah, no swearing. I'd be a sailor up in that bitch.
yeah, same.
Technical?
Yeah, technical.
I didn't know how to write down the French names, so I just wrote basically what Dana made. It was like an onion potato pie
yeah.
with a blue cheese gravy.
Yes. I feel like
That sounds terrible, honestly. Do you like blue cheese?
I like blue cheese in my salads as like a small way to kind of cut, but I feel like the way that works is there's a lot of freshness from like the vegetables and the lettuce and things like that. So the blue cheese kind of adds like a creaminess to it. I'm with you. A blue cheese gravy on something like this, just absolutely not.
I think it sounds decent without the gravy or the sauce, but that gravy sauce just tipped me over the edge.
Also, yeah, I'm looking at how to say this, and I know they said it on the show, and I don't know how to pronounce
Here,
it
let me
either.
see.
But I also just feel like when you're cooking with potatoes, how did more people not taste their motherfucking potatoes? Like, you put that in your mouth and you decide if the potatoes are done.
That is true. I had the same thought. Like, why aren't you guys tasting your potatoes?
Yeah, it's not like the potatoes cooked in the pastry. You cooked the potatoes in a pot and then set them down. So, like, the amount of uncooked potatoes was wild to me.
Yeah, that was wild. I agree. Okay, let's see if I'm going to give it a shot.
I love it.
Mostly just for the comedic aspect. Dauphinois Pithivier?
Yeah, we'll take it. Nice. Like, I just don't even want to sound dumber than I normally do. So
I'm used to it.
Yeah. This one, I was not excited about this, but I'm really happy for Dana coming in second.
Yeah, it was interesting to see. It seemed like a confusing point for the bakers was when to include the grated butter. Like, people were laminating, some people weren't.
Oh,
that was
that
really
was-
interesting.
So funny to me. We had to rewind like 3 times because Saul kept telling me that people grated their cheese into their dough and they didn't, but that's what he was saying. But what he meant to say was that
butter.
they added all the butter to their dough and didn't laminate it. I watched that scene a lot. Yeah, you guys, rough puff, what are we doing? How did that, if they cut it in and that makes a biscuit?
Yeah, I was wondering why. I don't know. Like, I'm not a seasoned baker, but even I was kind of confused the people that were cutting it in because I understand the laminating process of being like dough, butter, chilling.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess their pie still came out.
I mean,
kind
I
of-
would not be sad to eat a biscuit on top of potatoes.
Yeah, me neither. I was kind of surprised that Paul and Prue didn't talk more about the technicality of the flakiness of the crust. It was kind of like, oh, this has good flavor and it's flaky, but Paul wasn't like breaking things down and calling people out on that.
Yeah, it is always. I wonder if they just, because it would, the logistics of the show, do they just have like 3 or 4 main talking points that they want to cover, and otherwise, like, yeah, I was really surprised by that too. I'm like, how are people not getting shamed for this?
I loved Rowan looking over at Christy's pie and being like, it looks like she's trained for 70 years in France.
In cordon bleu.
Yeah. This is like a pile of potatoes and hers is perfectly organized in
I know, that was so
circles.
funny when she was like stacking those and he's just like plopping his down in the middle. Like, my guy, at least, like, yeah.
Come on, Rowan.
But also, I kind of respect that because sometimes when you're like, that's comfort food, right? Like, does it really need to be like beautifully layered potatoes? That just seems like an awful lot of work.
Well, if it was cooked open, I can see taking the time to perfectly, make that potato pattern. But it has a crust. You can't see what the filling looks like.
Yeah, until you cut into it, I guess, then you've got a nice stacked wall of potatoes. But
Honestly, I'd plop it in, smooth it out so that it's even,
Same. That's how I would do that. That makes the most sense to me. Christy stacking those potatoes, but it paid off for her. So
What does she get in the technical?
she came in 5th.
Okay.
So like I feel like middle is always, I mean, it didn't really pay off that well. 5th is still 5th, but I don't know.
And then Nikki does poorly again because hers is flat like a frisbee. Oof. What does she keep saying? I wrote it down. Oh, this is a bag of pants. I love that.
Oh, she's gone.
So we had Tasha in 3rd,
Yep.
Dana in 2nd, and Dan in 1st.
Yeah. Dan's was perfect in every way.
Yeah.
I don't want Dan to win this season just because he's boring.
I know. I feel like he is really talented, but there's just like not a lot of substance to him.
Well, I'm still kind of bitter that like he slid through Bread Week.
Yeah, he should not have with that pizza word
Ugh,
showstopper.
an insult to pizza.
Yeah, that was.
So,
And it was also not cooked.
yeah, it wasn't cooked. It wasn't good.
He also didn't do good on the other 2. I
Bad
really don't
idea.
know how he. That was when Abby went home.
I know. Justice for Abby.
Justice for Abby. Any more thoughts on the technical?
I guess if I had any parting words of wisdom for anybody who wants to try and make this, taste your potatoes. Like, make sure those suckers are cooked. Because I
And
just don't
salted.
think, I don't think potatoes, they might cook a little more in the oven, but like not enough that if they're raw
Yeah, not enough.
in your pan, they're not going to cook through.
Well, how long were they baking those pies? It wasn't very long.
No, because all you're doing with the filling already cooked, you're just trying to get a brown on the crust. So probably like 20 minutes at most.
Yeah, because Dan put his in, I think, at 30 minutes left.
Yeah, I mean, and it might be as upwards of 30. I guess it depends on like the thickness of your crust, but like ultimately that's just not enough time for the potatoes to like really, they'll heat through, but they're not going to like start cooking.
Yeah, because they're stacked inside that crust. It'd be different if the thin layers of potatoes were like spread out on a sheet, but
Yeah,
they're just like cooking in this massive pile.
Yeah, there's no way. So anyway, taste your food. It's helpful. I actually took that. I hadn't even thought to do that when I was baking, to like taste batter and salt that to taste, or like season that to taste. I took that from you last week and made some spice sugar cookies, and
Oh,
that was
yeah.
very fun. So thanks for that.
I heard those turned out really lovely.
They did. Thanks to you and that good idea.
I'm just, I also just enjoy eating.
I was going to say, now I have an excuse to like just pound cookie dough.
Yeah.
Love that. I don't have anything else on the technical.
Okay, so our showstopper.
Pies.
Decorative sweet pies. And this entailed having 3 ornate pies, and they needed to be made out of a rich sweet pastry case.
Yep. This is kind of like nightmare level stuff for me. This seemed like a really hard challenge.
It
but
did.
maybe not.
And I just want to say that I think Josh I think Josh is probably one of the most boring people on this season, but his pies were so beautiful and he got such a glowing review from Paul and Prue. I don't know how he didn't get a handshake.
Yeah, that was wild because it came together really well. Like that was one of the most cohesive ideas.
Yeah, it was so stunningly beautiful. And then when they had like nothing critical to say about his pies, I was like, how is he not getting a handshake right now?
Yeah.
Justice for Josh.
What is up with this season?
I don't know. And it was cute how he was connecting the story to his grandma that he used to bake with after school. Like these little things make me more invested in these people, right?
Yeah, and it's sweet that he did it for his grandma.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. But I'm trying to think of who else.
I thought Tasha's apricot and ricotta pie sounded really good.
Yeah.
I love how she called her pecan pie an American pecan pie because it had whiskey in it. I thought that was cute.
It is always so fascinating to me the way that they talk about like American flavored things. And it's a reminder that like, oh yeah, that probably is kind of an American thing.
Yeah, because we have like no periphery into that.
Mm-mm. I'm trying to think. I liked Dana's pie. I thought she did a really good job with
Oh, the
like,
mulled wine and apple
oh,
one? That
yes.
sounded good.
Yeah.
Okay, here's the thing. I am not a frangipane person.
You're not?
No.
Almonds mess with my stomach, so I can't really eat them. And frangipane, I could just like put it in a piping bag with a round tube and just like go into my mouth with it.
Jess is gesturing how this would work. I don't like amaretto. I don't like fake almond flavor. I don't like
I
any
did
of
not
that.
know this.
Yeah. That's
Damn, dude, I put that in my sugar cookies. You probably just are like not eating my sugar cookies on the sly. I won't do that again. That's wild. I had no idea. That's probably like second flavor to banana for me. Fake banana.
Yeah, I'm not a fake almond person. I mean, like I'll eat it, but it's not something I seek out, you know?
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's really fair. Well, good to know.
I didn't even know that's what frangipane was. I had to like Google what frangipane was, and I was like, oh, that's the fake almond stuff. And I mean, unless it's made out of almonds, I just associate it with like
It's
the
actually
almond flavoring in an amaretto.
no frangipane. I've made it
Oh, what is it?
accidentally, completely from scratch. I didn't realize that there was ways around this. So you blanch the almonds, you blend them up, and you mix in, I believe, like sugar and butter into it as well. So it's ground almonds, sugar,
Okay,
and
so
butter.
it is almonds.
It is almonds, but it doesn't. You could add almond flavor to it, but I think if you do all the steps correctly, the almond comes through really nice without the excessive almond flavoring. And so it's just sort of like a sweet almond. It's not quite a pastry, and it's not a cream. I don't know. It's a weird.
I also don't love the texture.
See, yeah, I can see that. I'm a fan of the texture. I make a fig frangipane tart, and I love the almond texture with the crunchiness of the crust and then the chewiness of the figs. That really does it for me texturally. But I can see if you don't like it, you really wouldn't like it.
It's interesting because I love almonds, and for some reason, I don't really associate the flavor of almonds with frangipane.
Mm.
I don't know. Interesting. But yeah, so many people did frangipane pies.
I was really surprised by that too. I would use frangipane more if I could eat it, but I think it's delicious. So I was excited to see that. But who else? I loved Rowan's decorations a lot, even though they didn't pan out. I thought he did a really good job.
He was very creative.
Yeah. Saku's was also really fun to me. Her like pie chart.
Oh yeah,
Like, yes. That's so clever and fun.
that was cute. I'm trying to think of who else had a really pretty one? Oh, I thought Nikki's was pretty.
I was gonna say Nikki's was actually really beautiful,
Yeah.
but like
I guess it was dry.
dry.
But I was very impressed with her presentation.
Nikki's always had a really good ability to decorate.
I think-
She's on it.
It was either this one or the savory pies where they tried it and they were describing it and they're like, she's like, it's terrible. She was like, just like melting, watching them try it and hate it.
Oh, yeah, that's a brutal spot to be in.
Yeah.
Like, man. I don't know if I've got anything.
It was pretty brutal watching them eat Rowan's though, and Paul just like mashing up the soupy insides. That was hard to watch.
Paul just needs to back off a little bit. Like, Rowan knows. We can all see. We don't need
I feel
you
like he
like
especially does that. We talked about this last week, but I feel like he like has something out for Rowan.
me too. Like, man, this guy is not threatening your mojo at all, Paul. Like, don't worry. You guys are not in the same dating pool. Like, what are you doing? I don't understand this aggression towards Rowan.
I feel like he's the least threatening person in the room.
Yeah, go square off with Maddie. I don't know.
Maybe Paul just asserts his dominance over like the weakest people
Yeah, just to really.
because he's intimidated by everyone else, but he's still acting from like an insecure place.
I could see that. Yeah, that's our story, and we're sticking to it. I was pretty excited for Christy to win.
I was too.
star baker. This week, I think, really showcased her talent. And like you talked about earlier, where she's coming from and the fact that she's doing this late at night when her kids go to bed and like she's this good.
Yeah. I had a feeling she was going to win it when they opened up with her being like, it'd be lovely if I got star baker. Because I feel like that's it's a nod that she's going to be close or she's going to get it, right?
Yeah. Josh has won star baker before, though, right? He's got his moment in the sun.
Has Josh won star baker? Because we had who won the first week? Was it Abby or Dan?
I don't remember.
I think it was Abby or Dan, and then we had Tasha, and then last week we had Maddie. No, Josh hasn't won one,
Josh hasn't won one.
right? Aren't we on week 5?
Yes.
Yeah, so Josh hasn't won star baker. He was close though.
He's been. I would like to see him get towards the end because he's been another person I think that's been really consistent. Even if he is,
I want
also,
Dana to like kick. I want Dana and Maddie to kick it up and do better.
Yeah, you guys, for us, let's go.
I mean, I love Tasha, but I feel like Dana and Maddie are. I mean, Maddie has one star baker, but I feel like they're kind of like middle of the pack, and I want them to level up.
Me too. I think they're a lot of fun. I really like Dana's demeanor about all things. She's just
She's so chill.
She is. She's.
I want to drink wine with Dana
Yes, absolutely yes.
and go shopping.
Yeah, I tried to Google where she gets her sweaters, and I don't know.
Yeah, I just want to be her friend.
I know. Yeah. She bakes really good food. She seems really fun. She's got great fashion. She is.
I also would love to drink with Nikki because she seems like a hoot.
Oh, yeah. I agree with that completely. Nikki is really funny. Her and her husband taking the Pilates class really made me laugh.
So cute.
She looks so different without her glasses on.
Yeah, her glasses are so fun. It's definitely like a part of her personality.
It makes me miss wearing glasses just a little bit.
Yeah, it's such a fashion moment for her.
Yeah, it works really well.
Anything else on?
No, I was really sad that we lost Rowan and Nikki. I knew that was coming. Like, that was no surprise to me at all.
I know.
But it was still really hard.
I messaged Jess and I was like, I don't even want to watch the rest of the season because they were the two most interesting people on this season.
Yeah. I think we just kind of had a rough week. I think.
What are we going to do without Rowan's sad one-liners? Oh.
I don't know. That is really too bad.
Rowan should start a YouTube baking channel. I 1,000% would watch that.
So one of the fun things they do in Big Brother is they will have like all-star seasons.
Has there not been an all-star Great British Bake Off? I guess they do like holiday specials where they bring people in.
But like I want a full season of like Britain's favorite bakers, but also maybe America's favorite bakers. Like let us put our input into, and I want to see Rowan back.
Yeah.
With more confidence.
Oh my gosh, that'd be so fun.
Right?
Yeah, that'd be epic.
Yeah, I need that to happen.
Why haven't they done that yet? But there's so many great people they could bring back.
That's kind of the point. You could bring back 12 people. We're on season 14. So theoretically, you could have one person almost from every season.
Well, Project Runway just did that on the most recent season. It was season 20. And there is a Project Runway All-Stars, but this was just Project Runway. And they brought back people from season 1 through 20, basically. Wow. And it was such a fun season to watch because one, you knew how talented everyone was that came back. So the fashion was incredible. But two, it was also so interesting to see, you know, people from the beginning to where we are now because the show has changed so much since like Heidi and Tim were there and now it's on Bravo. I don't know. I just loved it. They should totally do that.
Well, I think it could be really fun too because yeah, people know sort of the structure of the show at that point, so they can come back and not be bamboozled by the ins and outs of just like the fear of your first time doing all of these things. Like to see I think a lot of people would come back with a lot more confidence than they had the first time around. And like I said earlier, I really believe all of these people are so talented. Even if we don't see their talent, to get this far, to do the things they're doing under pressure, they are so, so talented. So I think it could be really fun to set them up to like really succeed and see who comes out on top. So I don't know. That's what I would like to see. Fingers crossed.
We're putting that into the universe.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll happen.
Maybe
we just need to DM Noel about it.
On it.
Also want to be friends with him.
Yeah, his fashion also epic. I don't really have much else for Great British Bake Off. Do you?
No. We do have to tell you guys that we failed at watching Golden Bachelor this week. And it isn't because we aren't going to keep watching. I feel like episode 3 saved it for us, and I plan on continuing
Same.
on Gary's journey.
Yeah, I've just been bogged down by some work-related things this week that's taken up, unfortunately, like a lot of my time outside of work. So
Same. So, but don't you worry, we prioritize Paradise because
we love a mess.
Paradise.
Okay. Paradise.
Let's just, before we get into it, I want to kind of recap where we're at with the couples so we don't forget any of the storylines.
Okay, yeah.
So we have the obvious triangle between Kat, Davia, Tanner, because Davia came down on the beach and took Tanner on a date on Kat's birthday.
Ugh,
We now have the Brayden and Rachel.
love that for them.
We still have Blake and Jess, which is kind of imploding.
Absolutely it is.
We have Avon and Kylie,
Kylie.
who are boring because they're just there and they're just happy to be together. Which I haven't really seen much like chemistry or interaction with them. So I'm like, are you guys really in love? Like, if someone came down and pulled you, would you not go? I'm kind of interested in that.
Kylie seems into everybody.
Yeah.
No, but Kylie gets to be. That's not a slight. But yeah, I'm surprised. But I guess Avon is her jam.
Then we have Olivia and John Henry, which I think they're cute together, but I don't know if they're going to last. Sam, the Canadian girl, gave her rose to Pilot Pete, which I think she's so thus far very entertaining to watch, but I am sus about her choice with Peter because I don't like him.
She's older, so and by older I mean she's still younger.
She's
than
34.
Me. I know, awesome.
Love that energy.
Okay, can we start there?
Was there anyone else?
Mercedes and Tyler.
Oh yeah, I forgot about them because that was boring.
Word.
I think that's it.
I love Sam coming down and just infantilizing the shit
out of Sean. Yeah.
And he was trying so hard to just let it roll off his back. And she absolutely was not going to give it up.
And
I was
she's like-
laughing. I was dying. I was like, this is what I'm here for. I needed that.
I did too. Like, bye, Sean. We don't want to watch you anymore. And
Yeah.
no, you're not going to talk this 34-old woman into giving her rose to you.
Yeah, she's smarter than that.
Bye.
Also great that I was so worried. I had read somewhere on Reddit that like there was a strong possibility the producers were going to give Aaron S like a sympathy rose.
Oh, because Sam left?
Yeah, and I was like, the fuck they are. If they do, I will riot. I need Aaron S gone, and he is gone.
They kind of did leave us believing that could happen because when Sam was leaving with her suitcase, they showed her with a rose, and I was wondering if that was going to be relevant at all, but he went home, so.
Bye. Yeah, Sam choosing Pete. I still don't like that guy.
Oh, Aaron and Eliza. I forgot about
Aaron
them.
and Liza. Yes.
Yeah, I don't like Pete either. I think she picked him just because he was, well, I don't know. I guess Aaron S was older too. I think she was looking just for like a more mature guy.
Yeah.
Which to me, I was like, really? Pilot Pete? The guy who was like dancing awkwardly?
She wasn't here for that, so
Yeah,
you can't
that's
really hold
true.
it against her.
But hopefully someone comes down that is a better option for her.
Yeah, I agree because I want her to stay. Can we talk about the truth and dare? Just because like that's really heavy on my mind.
Let's
Like
do
I'm
it.
like trying
Also,
to piece this episode
why has this
together.
not happened on other Paradise seasons?
Yeah, that was wild. I do not think John Henry is into Olivia.
I'm kind of getting that vibe too.
And I could not watch her. I can't even say it.
Lick his finger?
Sucking on his fingers.
Wait, why couldn't you? Does that gross you out?
No, it doesn't gross me out, but like his response to it just read so uncomfortable to me.
Oh, okay.
And
I
she was
understand
like
now.
super hot and bothered, and he was like just bothered.
You were absorbing her awkwardness.
Yes, and
Okay.
I just felt like she did not read the room. I don't know. That was a moment where she should have gone after, like, I don't know, Brayden or somebody else just for fun to like the levity thing.
Yeah.
But instead, because he made out with Mercedes, it was sort of an attempt to like lure him back, and it didn't work.
That is fair.
And it made me sad for her, awkward for John Henry. I don't know. I could not be in his position and have somebody lick my fingers if I was not like really, really into them. I would just like poke their eye and be done.
I think that's valid.
So I did not like that, but I was surprised that he chose Mercedes.
I was too. I was like,
what is
we need to do
this?
more of this. Let's mix it up. Like, I want to know who's like hot and bothered for someone else who hasn't like spilled that tea yet.
Totally. Well, Brayden giving Jess
Yeah.
a lap dance. That was amazing.
I know. And I loved that. They do not make sense at all, which made it way more fun to watch.
Yeah, that's the kind of thing that I'm talking about. Like, rather than just sort of go, like, give us good TV. Brayden is delivering.
Yeah, I love the truth or dare thing. I loved how it got people kind of like out of their comfort zone and getting freaky. I definitely think they're doing little things this season to make it a little bit more like Love Island,
Yeah.
like the truth or dare thing and the bonfire thing. And I think that's a smart move because they don't always have good content just having these people chill on a beach.
Well, especially like looking at what happened with Blake and Jess. Like, was anything different going to happen there if there wasn't a moment for Jess to like say what she needed to say?
Yeah, and let's talk about that because
Yeah.
I just want to say that I really admire the way Blake like approached that conversation. And while I understand why Jess was feeling what she felt, I also didn't necessarily think it was fair. I don't know. That was like a tricky conversation.
Oh, for sure. I think that is a representation, though, of like how young Jess is. There's a 9-year difference between her and Blake.
Okay, yeah.
And like that shows Blake is clearly in a space to like be comfortable to have the hard conversation. And Jess is still probably in that phase of like, don't stir the pot,
Yeah,
don't
like,
make anybody mad, carefully tiptoe
I
around
want you
it.
to like me.
Yeah. And it's like, no, likability is not a factor here. Like, speak up for yourself. And so it's definitely on her to have done that. And I feel for Blake that she didn't. But also, my guy, why are you going for somebody in their like early to mid 20s? Pick somebody more mature then if like that's really what you're looking for. So Blake did handle it well. Sympathetic to Jess, but Jess also needs to like get it together and just start speaking up for what she wants.
But also, like, when she voiced, like, I haven't been doing things for me. It's like, you need to sit with that. Like, that's on you.
On you,
Like,
right.
learn from that. Grow from that.
Yes.
Like, don't live your life protecting other people's feelings.
Yeah, because you're not. Blake is probably a million times more hurt that he found out in this weird roundabout way that she felt this way than had she just like at some point been honest about that. Of like, hey, if people come down, how do you feel about me going on dates?
Yeah.
Have that conversation. That's a perfectly fair conversation to have in a place like paradise.
Totally. I thought they were cute together just because I like both of them individually, but I think this conversation did show a big maturity gap, and it'll be interesting to see, now that she has this wind in her sails, like, is she going to go talk to Tanner? Is she going to go talk to Tyler? Like,
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. I hope she does something for Jess, and I hope Blake like goes out of his way to meet someone else.
Yeah, I want a Jess mess. I think that'll be fun, but I don't know if it's.
I'm
gonna
glad
happen.
Sean wasn't that mess,
Oh, yeah.
but I do want a Jess mess.
I am
want
proud
a
of
glitter
Jess. We can give her
explosion.
that credit of like she
is willing to do some things that are hard.
Yeah, that was not an easy conversation. Ugh, Sean. I felt pretty bad for Kat and her birthday.
Okay, there's so many pieces to this.
Oh,
'Cause,
for
like, on
sure.
the one hand, like, do I feel bad for Kat that Tanner went out with someone else? No. Do I feel bad that it was on her birthday? 1,000%.
Yeah, that's more it. Like bad timing.
Yeah.
But I think Sam, was it Sam not 2.0, but Canadian Sam, was kind of like, it's just really bad timing. And like that really is the crux of it. And like it sucks and we can still shit on Tanner, but like also Tanner's not wrong to like go on dates.
let's just acknowledge that the producers are seeing, hey, Kat is reacting to things. Kat is like, she is drama. She is explosive. She is willing to get messy. And so the producers are like, let's create this perfect storm and light Kat's life up on fire. And
Well-
it's going to be explosive and make good television.
Exactly, because the producers do ask cast when they're coming,
Yeah.
like, who are you hoping to see? And I guarantee you, Davia was on Tanner's list, and they're like,
Oh, it's
bingo.
Kat's birthday.
Yeah. Also, Kat made the point that like they cut in the eye roll when
Oh.
Davia came down the stairs. And if you do watch it, I had to go watch it again. Her hair is different.
Oh,
The eye roll was a
interesting.
completely different situation. And then when she gets up to hug Davia, her hair is like braided and back.
Oh, see? Gotta pay attention.
And I do think Nick Viall talks about this. And this is, I thought some of his most interesting insight was they can edit you however they want. And if you don't pay attention, they can like franken bit things together. They can take things out of context. There was another podcast I listened to, like, I think it's Cultish. They brought on Kendall Long and talked to her about like the contract you have to sign. And it basically says you're signing away your right and they can edit you however they want. And so it's also, I think, worth remembering, like, yeah, producers can stir the pot and also just clip stuff together.
Yep.
And it's not to say Kat isn't a mess or that she's not kind of like going off in times where like maybe she should sit down and be calm, but also like
Producers are riding that wave, and then they're like, how do we make the wave bigger?
absolutely. So it's unfortunate, but also like this is the beach. This is what it is.
I was telling Jess off the mic, I was like, I hope Tanner gets as much shit as everyone is giving Kat for like going out with Tanner after leading on Brayden.
But nobody is. They're like, this is what Kat deserved. And it's like, but she didn't.
Yeah, like two wrongs don't make a right. Like if you're going to throw shade or smoke at someone, you need to hold the next person to the same accountability. I don't know.
No, it's very bro-centered this year on the beach.
Yeah. Oh, poor boys. Oh, you're having your hearts broken. Oh.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but I feel like that is very much the tone of this season. And I thought it would.
Yeah, like don't fucking tell me that every one of these guys had every intention of being engaged by the end of this. Like, no, they know that they want a vacation on the beach, all expenses paid, to hang out with the guys. Like, they're not heartbroken. They're fine.
I will say I loved that Kat beat the shit out of that piñata.
Oh, yeah, some well-directed rage.
Yeah, rage practice. Kat, that is healthy. There's no shame in that. Like, you're upset. Yes, go ham on a piñata. I personally have done a similar thing. So, handle your rage in a healthy way. And if that's beating the shit out of a piñata, like, fuck yeah.
Yeah. No, that was awesome. I was really excited for Kat to get that opportunity.
Yeah.
I also, not last year, but the year before, Mari throwing the cake in the fire.
Oh, yeah.
Another really good cathartic moment of just like, fuck it.
Dude, let it out.
Yeah.
I mean, I would rather see Kat beat the shit out of a piñata than have her take that rage and make herself like, I don't know, say something stupid or do something explosive that's like more of a reflection on her character than just being like, I'm upset and I'm going to beat a piñata.
Because you can absolutely be upset by the circumstances and what Tanner did, and it's your birthday, and fuck this show and the producers and everything else. But like also, it probably wouldn't have been fair to like
It's not gonna
scream at Tanner for this because Tanner is playing along with the show and doing this. Is it bad form? Yeah. Is it worth him being screamed at? Probably not. So like, yeah, take it out on the piñata.
Yeah.
She's well within her rights to be upset about this.
Don't make yourself look worse by like exploding at someone.
Yeah.
Let's see. What else happened? I'm trying to remember.
Davia is stunning.
Oh, yeah. No, very stunning. And so whose season was she on?
She was on.
Oh,
Zach.
it was Zach's.
Yeah. She was the one who sat there with the flamingos, I think, at the end and had like a really fun interaction with the flamingos.
Okay.
She also had, I love it. You guys, I love it when women show up with their real hair. So in Zach's season, she had like extensions in and had very long, luxurious hair. And when she came down on the beach, it was just obviously her natural
Oh,
hair.
I love her hair.
Me too.
The
She
short
looks
hair.
so stunning. Like,
Yeah.
yes.
All of these women are so intimidatingly beautiful.
Yeah, it does make me laugh when they're all like, oh, Davia. I'm like, have you looked at yourselves lately?
I do understand though, like if you've been living on the beach for 2 weeks and you're like,
She
I've
comes
kind of
out and
given
she's
up at this point. Yeah,
showered, fresh.
she looks fresh AF. So I do understand the juxtaposition of like, fuck you.
On this note, Rachel and Brayden's date. Rachel is so drop dead gorgeous. I
Oh,
cannot even. I'm like, how are you you have green paint on your teeth, all over your face, and somehow you look more beautiful.
Okay, I'm gonna say this. You know that I used to like not be a Rachel fan,
Yeah.
and I still stand by a lot of that. But I'm gonna say that whatever Brayden is bringing out of Rachel, like I'm 1,000% here for this Rachel. This like fun Rachel, messy Rachel, like not caring as much about what people think Rachel.
Well, she even admitted, she was like, I've been so serious and I don't know why I'm doing that. And I loved that moment of like realness, that awareness from her of like, oh, I need to just like chill a little bit. And yeah, she's able to just have fun with Brayden.
Yeah, I don't like. Who knows if Rachel and Brayden end up together? But this like little serendipitous moment of them on Paradise has been such a bright spot for me personally.
It's kind of like Shanae and Genevieve,
Yes,
like coming together and giving us
this little friendship.
Yeah. And like for them, I they're both two very attractive people.
And very strong personalities.
Yeah. So like it has been really fun to see them play so well together and like just really lean into it. I hope that Brayden did post something. This is not a spoiler, but just like has been posting about dates that he went on with Rachel on Paradise. So I think it probably like, even if it doesn't work out, they're at least amicable or amenable. I don't know what I'm trying to say. They're
Amicable, you're
amicable.
right.
They're good.
Brayden's little candy wrap at the end was probably one of my favorite parts of the episode.
I missed the candy wrap.
Oh, you need to go back and watch it. He does like a little recap of their date in the piñata costume. And I just thought it was really good.
Oh, that's fun. Maybe I did see it. I'll be honest, I watch a little more passively sometimes.
Oh, that's what we can do now because we're not taking notes. I take notes on Great British Bake Off.
Yeah, I watch so intently. I'm like, okay. Yeah. Paradise, though, pure fun.
I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I do like next week it shows that Kat seems to maybe pivot and start working on John Henry because Tanner must be like Team Davia.
Yeah.
Who knows? Or maybe she's just like, you burned me too much. I'm out.
I kind of really would love Kat to have her moment to just be like, no, bye.
I mean, I do hope that happens. I hope it's not Tanner being like, well, I'm more interested in her. I hope Kat's like, I'm better than this. I don't need you.
Yeah. That would be really fun. Definitely looking forward to that. Oh, I had something that I wanted to talk about. Oh, Jamie messaged us about being disappointed that Jesse Palmer is hosting Bachelor in Paradise. But
why was she disappointed?
Because he's boring.
Oh.
Well, I kind of feel like we need Jesse to like center this whole thing. But I will be honest, it was really a wild time. Was it last season where we got like so many different hosts? And
David Spade. Yeah, that was great.
So funny because I think he came in and just he really talked himself up and just like talked down a little bit to the rest of the cast. And it was so comedically well done. I loved it. And yeah, Jesse Palmer in comparison is kind of boring, but like also
I like Jesse Palmer so much more than Chris Harrison that I'm kind of just like,
you're just
happy it's him and not Chris Harrison.
Yeah.
I also think we've seen more of Jesse's personality come out in Golden Bachelor. Like his reactions to things in the competitions are really hilarious to me. Here's my thing. Is Jesse Palmer doing much for the show? No. Is he like a blank canvas that the show can like do funny things with every once in a while? Yeah. You know,
I just have to encourage everybody. Jamie, maybe this is for you. He is so good on the Holiday Baking Championship. His dad jokes are very funny. They're not funny, But he handles it. He takes it in stride. Like he is somebody that you just kind of feel like you could be around comfortably. And I like that. And I feel like he probably is a pretty good presence for these people on the beach. Like it's all stressful.
I mean, Jess and I have talked a lot about how we think the Bachelorette should be hosted by a woman. I thought that the Tayshia and Caitlyn thing was entertaining because I think it did bring in this like opportunity for the leads to have a female friendship and talk with them more realistically about
What's
relationships.
Jesse gonna do? Go sit in the bathroom and cry with Katie?
Like that. I mean, so there is a gap there, and I totally agree.
Yeah,
and
it would.
Honestly, if this season wasn't so messy and interesting, I would probably be like more aware of how boring Jesse is. But I'm just so enamored with this season. And like, yes, let's bring more people down. Let's keep the mess going. Like, it's been so nice that we haven't had very many stable couples.
Because last year we had quite a few stable couples. Like,
yeah, it was a snooze fest. And Julia has said this on her podcast that she thinks once you pair off, that you should leave.
ooh.
And I actually like that. It's like, okay, you just want to be together, then maybe they get like sent to like a different resort or hotel or something
where people don't keep coming in.
Yeah, and I understand like that's part of the messiness of like every once in a while a stable couple will.
Yeah, but how often I have feelings on this. I think there are a lot of guys on this show that just go to have a really good time. And I think that's what happened last year. So I kind of also love this idea of like really holding everybody's feet to the fire and being like, okay, you're serious? Bye.
Yeah, I think that would make the show more interesting for sure.
Yeah, I think we could gamify Paradise.
I also think there should just be more competitions in Paradise.
Yes.
Like win a date. Compete.
Winning a date would be awesome.
Yeah, win a date card. Why aren't we doing that?
Yeah, I don't know. You could have so many ridiculous competitions too. Like they could be physical, they could be just like random whoever, like stuff that you have to pay attention to, like what people were wearing the first day or something. I don't know. There's so many fun things that they could do that would make it really a lot more entertaining and really like show how invested people are in their love interests.
Like if the women have the roses, it could be just a women competition that week. Do you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like who do you want to take out on a date to see if you have a connection with them before you give out your rose?
Yeah.
I don't know. Paradise could improve in a lot of ways.
It really could. I mean, it's still lovely, but
I do think that the Truth or Dare, the bonfire, they're doing little things that are bringing more energy and mixing it up a little bit more.
yeah, the pot stirring is fun.
Yeah, so that's the right direction. But yeah, I guess I'm just gonna say I prefer Jesse Palmer to Chris Harrison.
1000%. Yeah.
One white man over another.
It's true. Maybe we can get David Spade back.
At least he's Canadian and speaks French. I love David Spade. Like, if we could just have David Spade host
Yes,
Paradise,
I'm like,
that
why
would
was
be
that not a
hilarious.
contractable thing? Like, what happened? What happened? That was so good.
And I think David Spade would actually love that job.
Yeah, because you get to just, I mean, he is so funny. And to just be in a position of making fun of all of these kids coming down into the beach, please. Like, they all need to be knocked down a few pegs.
Jess and I have also talked about how whoever's the host is, like, what if they had a more integral role to, like, actually talking through some of the relationship points, like, I don't know who or what that is, but the host role is so benign.
Yeah, it is. It is such a weird thing. It's like you're just sort of there to keep things moving. But like, why couldn't that all be done off camera?
Yeah, or like, how else could they provide value or perspective, you know?
But I think hiring Tayshia or Caitlyn or Nick, I don't know. There are a lot of past personalities on this show. Hannah clearly wants to come down. Like, I think that there's a lot of people that could come in and would be far more interesting than just like a sports newscaster who got put in this role that would like make the show more interesting, a lot more engaging, and better for leads, especially in like Bachelor, Bachelorette.
I'm really bummed the show or the franchise burned the bridge with Rachel Lindsay because I was telling Jess how Rachel Lindsay recaps a lot of stuff for The Ringer for Bravo, and she is delightful to listen to. And her love of reality television coupled with her intelligence, coupled with the fact that she's like a badass black woman, like let's bring that energy into the show. You know what I mean?
Hell yeah. That would be so fun. But yeah, she's done with this shit.
Because she would also just like call out the tea. And I don't know. I just find her a delightful human being in
Yeah.
every aspect.
I would love that. It would be fun to just have a more engaging host all around.
Yeah.
I think that could help. I don't know why they didn't like Wells host. Instead, he has to bartend. I mean, Wells has made me mad. I'm not saying that Wells is like,
Yeah, but Wells is at least interesting.
he's a funny guy.
I wish they did more. I mean, I know with some Paradise seasons, they've gone too far with Wells where it's like he has too much of a storyline. But every once in a while, when they do Wells to do like a puppet show or like a funny bit, I really appreciate the just a little effort to like do something random and stupid.
Yeah.
You didn't watch the Scallop Fingers season, did you?
No.
There was an inside joke about this girl who was eating scallops that was like, she was eating it like from a to-go box in a vehicle with a bunch of the women. And they're like, who just eats scallops with their fingers like in a moving car? And Wells had this whole bit about scallop fingers. I'm gonna
Tell me
find
what
it and
season it
post.
is,
I'm
yeah.
gonna find it and post a clip of it on our Instagram.
Please do.
All right. Anything else?
I don't think so. I'll definitely watch Golden Bachelor. Be ready to talk about that next week.
Big Brother finale next week.
Yeah, if anybody's watching Big Brother, let us know. We want to talk about it.
I don't know. Maybe we should. I don't know.
We can maybe do like a debrief of the season,
That
like
could be fun.
what we thought of it, because it's too much to like really. We couldn't podcast 3 times a week
No,
or
we're
every
not gonna do
day.
that.
So, but maybe just like end of season thoughts.
There's a lot of thoughts.
Be a nice long bonus episode.
Yeah, like get your popcorn. We have a lot to say about it.
A
Oh,
lot.
I have something I was going to add.
Oh yeah.
Don't listen to it. I didn't finish it, but I did start listening to so Tom Sandoval has a podcast and he had on like a
yeah.
psychologist or a doctor.
Mm.
Don't listen to it.
Don't listen to it?
No.
Ugh, yeah. I was worried about that. No. Okay. That's the letdown. Not surprised. Tom's not going to bring somebody on his podcast that like actually could call him out or like have
I will
insight.
say like I don't know. First of all, I think it's kind of gimmicky to like have a psychiatrist or doctor come on and just like in one interview, like he starts going through, some blips in Tom's childhood and trying to connect some of those things. And while I do understand the validity of like childhood experiences and stuff, I just think that this is like such a watered down version of what that needs to be.
Yeah.
So like I think that that's like not really, I don't know. I was just not impressed. And then the only things I'll say is supposedly Tom took this narcissist test and he's like not a narcissist, but the guy did comment that he scored highly in vanity, which is not surprising.
Shocking.
And also he did call out on Tom on having like patterns of immaturity and codependency. So there were things that I was like, okay. But I will say like all in all, the tone of the podcast and just like how this guy was kind of like, oh, this was the thing I wanted to bring up. So this guy hasn't watched the show. He also like didn't watch the latest season. He didn't watch the reunion. And like I had the same issue with Bethany's podcast, of Rachel being on Bethany's podcast, but basically these people are conducting these interviews without actually knowing what the audience is responding to.
Right.
Does that make sense? And so it is in Tom and Rachel's favor to have these like limited bias approaches when it's like, I want to see someone interview Tom that's like been in the shit and is going to like hold him accountable and ask him hard questions based on what we have watched.
Yeah, I agree. I find those softball kind of episodes just pointless. I'm sorry. Like this isn't, you're not getting to the heart of anything. You're not really getting to the meat of anything. And unless Tom or Rachel really wanted to come forward and take genuine ownership, like I just don't need it. Also, is that how you test for narcissism? Like, do you just take a test? Because
it's not if you're a narcissist or not. It's if you have narcissistic tendencies.
Ah, okay. Like, I think it might be a little harder to diagnose that. But also, if Tom knows that that's kind of the test that he's taking, like, I don't know about you, but I'm kind of aware of the questions that I'm being asked. Like, I am going to slant this
I mean,
thing.
Tom's dumb, but he's not that dumb.
No, he's not dumb. I really hate that when guys get off the hook, just like, you're just a dumb guy. I'm sorry. Tom's not that dumb. He can read between the lines. So yeah, I don't think that really definitively says anything. So
Yeah, like the doctor knew that, obviously Tom had been in this infamous affair and he had like some background stuff, but it's like I want someone who's done the homework to do this interview. Like, what are we doing?
also, it's kind of clickbaity. Like, we don't really need Tom to have a diagnosis. We just want Tom to take accountability.
Yeah.
Like, you can't, yes, I think that there are personality disorders that definitely impact people. But ultimately, that kind of thing is between like Tom and his therapist. But like, what we want to hear is like, give us a raw account of like what happened and where your head was at and like why you chose to do what you did rather than just like defend it always.
Well, and that was also my issue with the Rachel and Bethany podcast is the only thing Bethany watched was the reunion. And while I will agree that the way the cast behaved towards Rachel in the reunion was hard to watch, Bethany also didn't watch the rest of the season and that she didn't see a lot of the interactions that we saw on camera between Rachel and Ariana.
Well, and Rachel and Katie.
And Rachel and Katie and Rachel and Tom. You know what I'm saying? It's like you don't get to just come in with this very limited perspective and come in with these like really strong opinions.
Right.
Unless you've done your homework and you have a more like full picture idea of what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's just not interesting to
Like
hear.
Bethany didn't even know until they were doing the interview that the affair lasted 7 months.
If not longer.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm just like, wow.
I actually completely forgot about that. So I'm glad you brought it up. I also know that I can just like cross that off of my things to listen to.
It was interesting hearing Tom refer to Raquel as Rachel. Like he only called her Rachel, and that was like weird in my head.
That is what she asked to go by. Like,
Yeah,
for
and
back to
I
her-
totally understand, but I'm saying we've just never heard him call her Rachel. So I
Yeah.
was like, oh, new beginning.
Interesting. Well,
All right.
thanks for that.
Yeah.
And we'll see you guys next week.
Thank you.
Bye.
Drama Bonded is produced and hosted by Mandy Booth and Jessica Brumbaugh. Our production manager and editor is Solomon Brumbaugh. Our theme music is by Joe Waters. You can find more of his music streaming on the EP Jupiter Daywatch. Music vocals by Mandy Booth. Graphic designer is Pigeon House. Thank you.